Hello everybody and welcome to episode 43 of the Pentagon Challenge. We're at the halfway point of the pre-season where the fixtures have not been announced, but I can still talk about how last year has gone, and I also have made some very tasty transfers. So without further ado, let's get straight into that business before talking about how last season went wrong and where it was a good story. So let's begin with the transfers out, actually. Immediately you'll notice I got rid of Renish Flakshish, as I promised. He was just so poor at the start of the season, and he didn't get any better. So after a wonderful start to his career at Shenhua, he just gradually got worse and worse, and eventually it just got too much, and I had to say goodbye to the Latvian. He's been a loyal servant, but I had to terminate his contract to make sure we had space to bring in some new foreign players. Yuhai wouldn't sign a new deal, so the 34-year-old has gone straight back out the revolving door after I got him on a free last season, but he did a great job when I had him. But because I played wing play very rarely, he wasn't really that useful. But that's just the way it goes. He is a very experienced player. He's been to Holland and all around the Chinese landmass. And then I've sold Liu Wafeng. I got fed up of him as well, sort of thing. He scored just the one goal all season long, and that was on the very first day of the season. So I thought, let's take a bit of a risk and offload him for 350,000 euros. Guangzhou are the reigning champions. It's up to them to make him into a good player. I don't fancy he'll make it very far, but even if he doesn't, I will have made a profit, and I've planned about what to do to replace him. Ian Uranga, I sold him off camera, and I may come to regret this. Actually, I thought he'd retire, but actually no, he's still hanging on in there for one more season for Macau. He's been capped 44 times, but I gave him away to Renhe for pretty cheap, as I thought his contract was going to run out. I didn't see any use in keeping him, but as you can see, he's had a great career in Spain, and now he's going to end his career most likely at Renhe. Then the goalkeeper, Wang Jingping, he was absolutely shockingly poor for the club when he was needed, especially for me in this year. So I thought, look, we've plenty of goalkeepers now. We can risk letting him go, and it's gotten dramatically bad for his point of view, as his club Senke are in the second division north, so that's out of the football league, and in fact that's where he started his career. So that's a real shame for him. It's just not been a success for Jinping. And then Zhang Meng, one of my defensive midfielders, I've put him out on loan to Tanshan. They are in the first division, so that should suit him perfectly. But when he played, he was actually pretty good this season. But previously he was a very influential player, played a lot of games, but didn't do anything useful. So I think this period away from the club will do him a bit of good. He is 21 years of age, so if he's going to reach his potential, he needs to be playing regular football. Now let's talk about who's come in. So I am starting to spend my cash. I'm finding the players I want, and they are now getting their part in the squad. So we'll begin with the new striker, Li Shenglong. He is an experienced striker. I paid a very small fee for him, but if you look at how he did at Changchun, that's 11 goals in 21 appearances in the Super League. Now that's really good for a team that only got promoted for one season, and they are back. I think they survived, didn't they? I'll double check. Yeah, they certainly did survive thanks to those goals. And he's actually a youth prospect here at Shenhua at the beginning of his career, so I feel he will be familiar with the place. And even though his technical attributes are very mediocre, I still think he's a better player than Wenfeng, and he can play backup when we need him. And we'll see what he can do for another season at a hopefully better club. I'll be shocked if we do worse than what's their name? I keep forgetting. Changchun. Yeah, for worse than Changchun, then I don't know what we're doing. Now the big money was obviously spent on Daniel Moreno. €2 million. You've seen him already if you watched the last episode, but just in case you haven't, he has arrived successfully in Shanghai, and even though he's had a very lukewarm start to affairs at Godoy Cruz, I just feel the 2 million could be, we could make him a much better player than he is now, and either sell him for profit, or unlike what happened with Vitor, we can keep him for 2 years minimum, and then try and make sure he can commit to the club. We need to be good enough for him to commit. So that's my plan. He's earning a good wage, about €10,000 per week, excluding tax, of course. So that's my risk, going to Argentina to bring a youngster over to China. And then also joining us from Chongqing is a Georgian centre-back. So he is Flakshish's replacement. Nika Shantoria has been in the country for a long time now. And even though Chongqing aren't a particularly good team, they've been in the Super League every season since he's been in the Far East. So you can see he's gotten a little, inconsistent. Like, he started off pretty poor, got worse, then had his worst ever season, got slightly better, and then he's had his best season ever with all 30 games played, and that's absolutely fantastic at only 26 years of age. But this is the clincher. Because he's been in the country for so long, he's within 176 days of getting potential Chinese nationality, and that would mean I could buy another foreign player absolutely scot-free. I would have 4 foreign players as opposed to 5, and I could bring in a very, very good player if we can. So that's well worth €2.5 million in my opinion, getting a player who could become Chinese in half a year's time. And then another signing I've brought in, because I only had 5 centre backs last year, I want to make sure I have 6. So Zhang Minfei fits the bill perfectly. He's only 20 years of age. He's played first team football for Jiangsu before. Not really very good. You can see it's very, very difficult for most players to get good rankings, but I'm actually going to move him up to the senior squad. That's where I need him to be. Development move to senior squad. So I have 6 centre backs now, so I play 5 at the back more regularly next season if I need to. And then my final vacancy will need to be filled at right back, and I'm really struggling to find anybody of use. I've been looking everywhere for players who've been released, players who can be bought for a fee, and now I'm actually resorting to a loan deal. Beijing are very hesitant to help me out by being a club in the same division and all, but if I can overspend for my Kai's services, then I will have a good right back who can play wing back or defensive right back. So that will be very, very important to the club. And then the new director of football has brought in Jin Chao. Potentially he's made an offer, and if I'm happy, then I can bring him in. Shangang let him go at the end of last season. So if we need another right midfielder, I don't think we do, but just in case, we could bring him in to the club. And then some of our own players are being tempted away, such as Kai Hui Kang has been given an offer, Sun Zhonggang has been given an offer, and Wang Zihao, but I've turned them all down because I need those players in the club where possible. And then let's just take a look at the staff that I've had to bring in, because the board have been very strict about what I'm allowed. So instead of 6 coaches for the senior team, I'm now reduced to 4. Because I was expecting them to veto any potential moves I made for staff, because I had so many. So Tang Pengju, my old director of football, the man with the nice cap, unfortunately he's no longer good enough despite his service to the club. He's gone. Li Zhengen, he was a youth assistant manager, and he's not good enough, and he was no longer on the balance, so I had to release him. Tang Chan, not an amazing coach to be said, but he's been here for a very long time, and unfortunately he was one who had to leave. I think he was in charge of ball control or something. That's something I can do now. And then unfortunately the goalkeeping coach New Ben has also been released, so that's really disappointing. I would have liked to keep him, but again, rules are rules. So Han Zhen is my new director of football and assistant manager. He can do both jobs. He's got good judging player potential and ability, and then as a goalkeeping coach he's actually not too bad, so that's why I brought him in to do the double shift. And then a little bit of a tip: if you're struggling to find scouts to suit your nationality needs, for example here in China you can only really get Chinese scouts, I recommend looking out for players who are considering retirement, and then when their contracts expire, you have a look at their staff attributes and see if they can bring anything to the table, such as Ricardo Santos here. He has good judging ability and potential, he's adaptable, and most importantly he has knowledge of Brazil and Sweden. He's been playing in those countries, and he must have had involvement with Norway at some stage as well. Yes, he did. So he's very comfortable talking about those three countries as well as China, so he will be a good scout. And then I've a new chief scout, Alexander Zivkovic. Brought him in halfway through last year as a regular scout from Hangzhou, and then when I saw the vacancy come up, because we had a chief scout retire, I decided I'll promote him, and he'll be pretty good. He has great potential judgment, you can see that, or ability judgment with 19, was his ability for future potential is not so good at only 6, so that's just the way it goes sometimes. And then at the training regime, let's just take a quick look. You can see with a smaller team to make things work, I have to make myself count now. I am a 3-star ball control coach, which is actually really cool, since I have my very last qualification necessary, the Continental Pro. So that's fantastic news. If we look at my profile, my mental stats are all the way up to 17. I have 13 tactical, 12 technique, 11 attacking, and 13 defending. But if I'm going to get some of these other attributes up, such as adaptability, level of discipline, and motivating, then I must win trophies, because my reputation stuck from 20% originally. Now it's going to be capped at 25%, so I need to win some trophies if I'm ever going to get that up. So that's a big concern. But the good news is I'm actually able to learn Chinese. Maybe my English meant I didn't need to learn Afrikaans back in Vasco da Gama, I don't know. But either way, I'm learning my Chinese, and that makes me very pleased indeed. I don't want to be ignorant of the culture while I'm here in the Pentagon Challenge. So anyway, let's quickly move on to talk about last season while we still have the league table information. So let's just get overall stats for the year. Very quickly, the goalkeeper, Dan Suo, played 20 games, which is the most of anybody. But Fu Huan, you can see how important he's been. He played 19 games from the beginning, and he made 1 substitute appearance, so I'm very, very reliant on him. But I also need a new wing back for the right hand side. Kai Hui Kang played 18 times, Yang Kuo 17, and Daniel Mullen also 17. We'll scroll down slowly. You can see Jingming Ha would have played more often, but he was injured. Karadzic, same deal. Radaby played 10 times as a summer signing, which is nice. And then several players that didn't really get their fair chance are all the way down here at the bottom. But I'll hope to be more balanced with my team selections in future. So anyway, here's the real problem. As I mentioned last season, goals have been at a premium. It was better throughout last season as opposed to my 15 games in charge at the beginning, but it's still not good enough in my opinion. I need a double figure tally from a striker. Karadzic was going to make it, but he got injured. Wang Zihao made a real impact when I stopped playing him in attacking mid and instead put him as a striker, so he'll be a very, very important player for this year upcoming. Chang Ming scored 5 times, Cao Yunding 3, Zonglin and Zhu Yun twice, Zhong Gang, Li Chao, Tao Jian, Yang Kuo, and Wei Feng, who's now been sold of course, all scored once. The best assistant was Cao Yunding, and Yang Kuo and Fen Yang, they each had 4, and a fair amount of players got at least 3 or 1. Cao Yunding was player of the match twice, as well as Yiming Hao and Geng Zonglin. Geng Zonglin of course didn't play very often in his native right wing position, but he was very, very good, and I can't wait to see what else he can do for me throughout the year. Kai Hui Kang, Sung Jungang, Yang Kuo are the top 3 passers, the best tacklers. Radaby actually got 6.49 tackles per game. Sun Jungang 6.14. Kai Hui Kang 5.74 tackles. Yellow cards, Hui Kang and Fu Huan each with 6. Red cards, none. And then average rating, Jiming have 7.11. Zhu Yun, not many appearances, won't count him. Cao Yunding 7.06. Karadzic 7.04. Li Tiaxiang was phenomenal for his previous club, of course, so we'll mix these two stats together. He made 13 league assists combined, which is fantastic, and he was also very good for me. And then Yang Kuo was the best player of 6.97 or higher, as well as Radaby. So that ends that segment, and now we'll take a look at the league stats, if you don't mind. We'll have some team detail, I suppose. So possession is a good one to start with, and we kept 51.13 ball possession all season long. Then our pass completion was 76%, and we finished 9th, of course, and we completed 11,000 passes, which is actually pretty cool. Is it actually mentioned best passers? Would it be here? Yeah, so passes completed, we are the 7th best at that. That was cool. But if you look at the goals, we're down in 8th position, tied with Chang Chung and Ayerban, so that's not good enough. I'm not happy with that. What else do I need to look at? In terms of yellow cards, we were the meanest team all of last season with 46 yellows, but we had no red cards, which is actually really hilarious when you think about it. Games were scored in a row. We managed 7 at the end of last season, which is pretty cool. The minutes since last goal, we're all the way down at the bottom, presume, 13 minutes. But Wuhan took ages to score there, and that's why they got relegated. Cross completion ratio, this is important. We've only completed 14% of our crosses, but Guangzhou only completed 18. So maybe my paranoia about terrible wing play is a league-wide problem rather than just a Shenhua problem. But it's not really ideal to be that terrible at crossing. Crosses completed, Fuli got 158 completed, we only got 116. Let me see, shots on target ratio shall be important now. Liaoning, despite getting relegated, hit 43% of their 94 shots on target. But then look at Quanxian, for example, they shot 209 times and only converted 39% of those chances. And then we had 144 shots all year long, so that's not too bad. And then shots on target, Quanxian hit 209 on target, and we hit 144, and that's fair enough. Let's look at defending now. This should be something we should be good at. So goals conceded, Shangang were the best at 23, but we're all the way down here at 47. It's still, mind-boggling how bad we were at defending. Conceded from corners, we conceded 4 times from that set piece. Nobody conceded, not many teams conceded a goal from direct free kick, but we did with once. And then indirect, we are down here with 5. That's terrible. Clean sheets, Shangang 17, and Shenhua just the 5. That's terrible. Let me see, tackles won ratio. We're probably down the bottom there with 70, but again 75 is the highest, so that's not too bad. Average attendance, we had 23,931 fans turn up on average, but then you convert that by capacity, and we are the 3rd most popular club year in, year out by our stadium size. Only one stadium sellout was the best, but that includes us with that includes us with Guangzhou, Liaoning, Fuli, Beikong. Highest attendance all season was Guangzhou's capacity crowd. We also got that one as well. The lowest was Beikong. We're down here at 10th place. That's not too bad. Transfer spend, we're actually the biggest spenders of cash, but I suppose that converts over from my two big signings, but salary per annum is where you probably want to see. We are 7th highest spenders with 12.25 million per annum, but most of my players aren't big foreign stars. So you look at Guangzhou, who brought in British players, they're spending big. Guangzhou, nearly 30 million per year. That's crazy. But now that they are the champions again, they can justify those outlays. So that's something I'd like to see improved. Get our position closer to the amount of money we're spending. So yeah, we'll see how that compares to the end of next season if I remember to do all that. But pre-season is still a long way away. We have another week or so to go, or another few weeks to go until we play our first pre-season game. But I hope you enjoyed that long chat. We'll be back for the start of the second full season at Shenhua, and I hope you're ready to see a new and improved squad, because anything less will be just disgraceful really. So I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye bye.